I do have this tendency to have like a little bit of toxic hustle culture. If I could do that and make money and tour and perform and be able to bring my cats in my tour van, and oh my goodness, that would be so much fun. I'm also a little bit of walking irony here. I haven't really paid attention to the fact that my home has been a big influence on like my mental state, my creativity. I'm just obsessive about productivity sometimes. I don't do things that are artificial. Like it doesn't make me feel good. And I don't think it really is good for any people. I kind of have light in one half of my face, but let's just like go with it and just like see how we vibe, you know? Dare we? Dare we? I actually tried to record one of these a few weeks ago and I just got in my head about it. And I thought that it would be a cool new format because my usual YouTube videos, I do a lot of editing and I have music and graphics and all that fun stuff. But I also feel called to talk to you like a friend because I know that it's so hard to have a friend when you're an artist and a creative. So there are so many things I kind of wanted to deep dive in with these YouTube type vibes. So let me know if this is your vibe, if it's not your vibe, because I'm just experimenting. If you've watched any of my other videos about the art of the art of experimenting, then you just know that that's the era I'm in right now, is I'm experimenting. I've been doing YouTube for almost a year and I really want more of these long form conversations. So why don't we just like try it, guys? Like, dare we? Dare we try it? The cats are going to be making noise in here, and that's just part of it. And that's part of the energy. Like there is a space for the YouTube videos where I'm like punch, 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 and I'm trying to give you all of these tips and everything. But I feel like there's also space to just sit back and relax. I have my tea, and a coworker actually gave this to me when I worked full time. She was so sweet. I actually got let go. No hard feelings. The person who let me go like wrote me a very nice recommendation that helps me get some other work. Really just, they didn't need my resources full time. And so my coworker sent me, we talked about, I actually haven't watched it in full, Parks and Rec, but we always just joked about like all of the funny little things that Leslie Knope would say to Anne, like you're a starfish, sunflower, all that stuff. So she sent me this, you're a beautiful, talented, brilliant, powerful musk ox. And it just makes me smile so much. And I have my reishi tea in here, which is really good. Oh, I love fruity tea. I think creative block is a really good thing to talk about. It's something that have been coming up in my blogs recently. I feel like I just talk about it a lot and I'm like, oh, let me hyperlink to that creative block blog article because it is something that I feel like we all feel creative block, you know? We all have that moment where we feel some sort of just stagnancy, or what I like to call, it's really tension in our work, whether it's like, I think the biggest for me is feeling guilty if I'm too tired, you know? Static and I have a set time every Thursday to work on music, and there were a few Thursdays where I was just so tired. I was so exhausted and I felt awful because I was like, this is what I should be wanting to do. Like I talk about wanting to, even recording things like this, like I would love to be a full-time content creator at one point. And if you're watching this back, and I already am, that's so cool. Right now I'm not, but hopefully soon. But I'm just like, there are so many moments where I need to like write a blog article or film a YouTube video, podcast episode, write music. And I'm just like, I am so tired. There's this guilt that comes over me that I'm sure comes over you too sometimes if you're really tired or just not feeling it. And you're just like, I know that I want to do this, right? So does this mean that I'm not an artist? Does this mean that if I don't want to be doing this 24/7 that I'm not an artist? Because that's how I feel. So there's a lot of guilt and shame that comes around when you feel this block, this creative block or this tension where you're just like, oh my goodness, like maybe I shouldn't be an artist. If I'm dreading the one thing that I'm looking forward, that I should be looking forward to, the should trap. Am I really an artist? I think that the first really hard part about that is the should trap, is we're feeling like we should. And why do we feel like we should? I mean, even people who absolutely love their jobs are gonna wake up some days and be like, I'm tired. I'm tired. Even people who are working their dream jobs they wake up some days and they're like, I don't want to do this. I just think about, I would love to be on tour. Like, I just listen to, like, I don't really usually listen to pop music, but espresso has been stuck in my head a lot. So I'm like, let me just listen to the full album. And so I listened to Sabrina Carpenter's album, and then I listened to Chappell Roan's album. I usually listen to 80s and 90s music, but I did, and I was like, this is so much fun. And Sabrina just seems like she's such a fun person in general. And I was looking actually right before this at her showing around her her dollhouse, I guess, where on tour, that's her set. And I'm like, I would love to do that. I mean, goodness, if I could do that and make money and tour and perform and be able to bring my cats and my tour van, and oh my goodness, that would be so much fun. But I guarantee that there might be some times that her team, her band wakes up, and as much as they say, I am so grateful for this, also might say, goodness, I'm so tired and I don't know if I have the energy to do this right now, so I have to get my head in the game. And I think, first of all, it is perfectly normal to have creative blocks. And there should be no shame around it. And I'm saying this as much to you as I'm saying it to myself. Because there is a lot of shame we like to put on ourselves. I think there is that, I was talking to my therapist today about toxic productivity. I do have this tendency to have a little bit of toxic hustle culture. And it's funny because I'll say on my blog, I'm like, I don't want to adhere to hustle culture, and I want to make it soft and mindful, and I do try to make it like that, but I'm also a little bit of walking irony here, because I do like to be productive. And so if I'm not feeling that burst of creativity, my first thoughts are, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't be doing this. Oh my gosh, am I really an artist? Do I really deserve to have this path if I'm gonna complain or I'm gonna have these tensions? It is perfectly normal. And what I kind of came to the conclusion of was that creative block is really just tension, like I'm saying. It's tension in one of three things, or two of three things, or three of three things. It's tension in your body / mind, your being. Tension in your home or your environment, or tension in your career. So let's break that down a little bit. It's really, first of all, it's that simple. Once you know how to identify it, and that's, I think, what, therapeutic approaches do, and a lot of people do, is, okay, this is how I'm feeling. Now let's see where that's coming from. At least that's something that I've kind of gotten from, therapy and self-help and self-care, is just, okay, first of all, let's affirm, let's thank our bodies for telling us how we feel, and let's say it's totally normal to feel that way. So if you're feeling creative block right now, first of all, totally normal to feel that way. I am right there with you. I feel creative block a lot. Secondly, it is tension. That is what it's coming from, and it's tension in your home, tension in your body, or tension in your career. So let's start with home. I love talking. I remember back in 2020 when I was in my second year of acting school, and I was so excited to graduate. So excited. I went to the S1E1 studio, and there's a lot of amazing actors that graduated from there. And I was just pumped. I was so excited. And then, of course, 2020 happened, and acting school was closed, and I was in my home, and I realized that I actually loved being at home. This was so much fun. I think there was for all of us, a sense of relief, maybe, of, at least for me, because I was commuting into the city. I was living in New Jersey. Static and I were living in New Jersey in our little 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. And it was a little bit of a relief to be like, oh my gosh, okay, I don't have to take the train. I had to drive to the bus stop, and then I had to take the bus to Penn Station. And then I had to walk from Penn Station probably like 6 blocks to my acting school. So it was a bunch of different things going on. So there was that little bit of relief. But then I kind of looked around and I was like, wait, I could like make my home really inspiring, you know? I'm like, I haven't really paid attention to the fact that my home has been a big influence on like my mental state, my creativity, all that sort of thing. And I realized, I mean, first of all, it was that realization of, oh my goodness, our homes actually have a huge influence on our creativity. If we have a cluttered home, which I did at the time because we had Static's recording studio was like in one of the rooms and it kind of took up basically 75% of the home. There were cables everywhere and just, it was a lot. So there was kind of a lot of anxiety around there. But then there was also the idea of, oh, my home can be my own kind of creative project. So there was a lot going on with the home element. And I'm sure all of you have had some realization about your home after 2020. Maybe it was subconsciously, and you realized that maybe your home is taking energy from you, or maybe it is giving you energy, which is wonderful. When we moved here 2 years later, it was 2 years later, I remember it was probably like 6 months into us unpacking and it was still a cluttered mess. And so I bought both of Marie Kondo's books, or I guess I got the audio books, and I listened to both of them. And I did the process over the weekend, and it totally changed my life. It changed my perspective on things, organization, my home life, but then also just my mental state in general. And just the concept of things sparking joy, clutter being noisy, things being noisy in your home really like opened my eyes. So she has this concept that I talk about a lot that is, you know, if you have a lot of labels going on, if you're like in, you know, you have your kitchen and you have all of the cereal boxes out and open and you have all the, you know, like the unpacked things and you see all these bright labels and words and colors, that's noise. That's just literally taking your energy, which is why I'm very specific about the way I design things. Now, if we owned this home, this room would not be gray. It would be purple or really pretty color, but we're gonna spark joy where we can, right? But you notice that a lot of everything I see in my home, more or less, there's a lot of things that we still have to clean out, but I try to make everything that I see in my home something that sparks joy. Everything that I touch, something that sparks joy. Even this, like I was saying at the beginning, like this makes me so happy because a coworker gave it to me. It might not be the most aesthetic thing. I do like aesthetic things too, so maybe I will eventually retire it. But right now it really makes me happy. So I guess when it comes back to this whole creative block, if you're experiencing creative block and you might think it is coming from your home, think about, you know, environmental tension, how this is influencing your mood. How do you feel when you come into your home? Like, how do you feel? Just maybe if you're listening to this at home, just like take a look around and look at the first thing that you see. And is that something that sparks joy for you? And for me, I actually had to read that second book, Spark Joy, because I read the first Marie Kondo book and I'm like, okay, but what does sparking joy mean? Because it had you touch everything and it's like, touch it to your heart and you have to ask if it sparks joy. And I'm like, that is hard. What? I don't know if it sparks joy. So I had to read the second book and I kind of explained it a little more. And what helped me is I kind of created my own, like, if you feel like that flutter in your heart, that's kind of an indicator. And there are certain things that you're not going to feel the flutter, but you'll feel the flutter because of what it does. So for example, I have this light bulb here. And for me, I really feel the flutter with this, not necessarily because it's the cutest thing in the world, but because it changes color and it makes the environment really, really pretty. So that energy is already there and it's already like really happy. This, I feel the flutter, so I have it sitting out. This is actually, I got this picture frame from TJ Maxx and then I got this, actually this is like an Etsy shop thank you card, and so I just framed it because it matched the frame. But anywho, if you're thinking that maybe some of your creative block is coming from your home, look at the things around you and think about what is draining you, what is making you feel that flutter, what is sparking joy for you. And if you do feel like you really need a good audit of your home, like a good dedicated, and you feel like you go through spring cleaning every year and there still always seems to be things that you have that you don't really need, read Marie Kondo's books, read, listen, whatever it is, consume Marie Kondo's books and do it. It changed my life. I tell everyone, and not everyone really wants to do it. I have like friends who just constantly are like, I need to clean, the house is so cluttered. And I'm like, read Marie Kondo's books. And they're like, oh no, I kind of did that. I'm like, no. I mean, read the books front to back and then do exactly what she says. I'm not saying just clean, because that's just cleaning. So, I mean, cleaning is one part of it, but then there's the other part of just really understanding what energy your home is giving you. So the first part is organization, but then the second part is actually having colors and shapes and styles of things that spark joy for you. That might even start with, once you've done all the organization, let's assume like it's a 2-part thing, right? You've organized, you've done Marie Kondoing, great. Now you might need to add some things, or you might need to replace some things. Start with just creating a Pinterest board of interiors that you love and start seeing the pattern of all of the things that you've pinned. Like, create a pin, name it your name or home, and then just start pinning things. And once you have 10 or 20 things, just look at everything and see what patterns there are. I don't mean like patterns, like style patterns. I mean, if you notice that 10 out of 20 of your pins have some sort of purple or pink in it, okay, that's a trend. Maybe trend's a better word. See the trends in it. See what is in common and what it is that you like about that picture. That was a huge thing for me. Like when I started kind of making mood boards, I knew I could feel the flutter in different photos, but then I had to look at it and say, but what is it about this photo that I like? So that's the second question you kind of have to ask yourself. It's like, okay, do I like this? Yes or no? And it's not really a question, it's just a feeling. It's, when you look at something and you're like, oh, that's it. But then once you have everything together, you look at it and say, okay, but why? Is it the shape? Is it the way the light's coming in here? Is it the lighting? Is it the colors? Is it the mood? Is it the way that the photo's edited? Sometimes I feel like I've found photos and I'm like, I actually just really like how this photo's edited. I don't like anything else about it. And that's information. It's all information. That is kind of the first potential tense area that could be creating creative block for you. And that might be, you're in a space that's really small and really cluttered. And once you are able to kind of Marie Kondo it and give it some more fluidity, now you feel like you have a place where you can really create. Maybe it's setting up your own little studio area in your home where you have GarageBand open, or you have like a canvas, or you have something set up and you're just ready to paint. So that's also another part of it, is that you have a home that's uncluttered, you have a home that you love, that sparks joy, but then you also have a home that's conducive to you actually being able to create. And that's why I kind of leave, I leave my camera. It's not here because I film in a few different locations, but I have my office downstairs, and so I have my camera sitting on the table, a battery already charging. I have the card plugged into my desktop, so I have everything already ready. So as soon as I want to start recording, I'm like, okay, card, battery, camera, boom. So I have everything ready. It could probably be even more easier and streamlined. I could probably just leave it in here, but I have to transfer it to the downstairs computer. It's a whole thing. But you know what I mean? I mean, creating a space where it's genuinely easy for you to create. I mention this when I talk about habits and ritualizing things, is if you feel like, oh my goodness, I have a full-time job, I wake up every day, I have my coffee, I go straight to work, and then I come back and I'm exhausted. Okay, well, if you make coffee every day and that takes you 10 minutes and you're, looking to wanting to sketch more, then put your sketch pad right by your coffee, have a pencil, and every time you go down and drink your coffee or even get it set up, sketch on your sketch pad. Just pair those habits together. That's what habit stacking essentially is. It's something that you're already doing, add that other thing on top of it, so you're already there, you're already gonna do it. And then it also kind of romanticizes the making the coffee. Those Instagram reels of people who are like, romanticize my XYZ morning with me. And it's, obviously life's not going to be perfect, but I do think that there's a way that when we have creative goals, we sometimes are like, I want to be productive and I want to get this done. But no, let's find creation in every single day, even if it's for 5 minutes while we're making coffee or 10 minutes. So it's really about that. I always say that with your home. There's the 3 C's. Conducive, so conducive to your creativity, able to easily access things. Cozy, you need to make a home that is cozy in your own definition. That might be like a clean minimalistic, but whatever cozy means to you. Because when you feel cozy, you feel less tense. And when you feel less tense, you don't have creative block. And the third one is, what is it? Cozy, conducive, curated, which is kind of creating, finding items that spark joy, items that make you happy, that make you feel that flutter, having a home that makes you feel the flutter, really. So we got the home, we got the environment, and that also goes, I'll just extend this a little bit. This also goes to the places that you frequent every day. I'm very lucky that I get to work remotely, and so I really am intentional about when I'm stepping outside of my cozy, conducive, and curated home, what other places can I go? If it's a coffee shop, it needs to be a coffee shop that really feels like my aesthetic, that it makes me feel like I'm living in a dream, I'm not going to go to a coffee shop that kind of just has no vibe. I might be a little bit of a diva when it comes to vibes, because I physically get like a headache if I'm in someone's house and it's just like bleh, and it just doesn't, as like bad lighting, it doesn't show that someone put intention into it. I don't know what it is. There's certain colors also that I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like when I go into Costco, I can't go into Costco. I can't with the energy. I don't know why. It's like the opposite of being curated, I guess. So I'm a little bit of a diva. Yeah. And alternatively, I will literally go to like Trader Joe's and Whole Foods if I feel stressed, because food, and also because it's super just cute. So we got that. We got tension in our home. So if you feel like you have creative block from tension in your home, from any of those elements, then you kind of know what to do already. You go read Marie Kondo's book and you just get started on just making your home cozy, curated, and conducive. The next part of this is tension in your mind or your body. I wish that there was like a word for this, like mind and body, your being, I guess. But mind and body is a little clearer, so maybe I will eventually find a better phrase for that. But really, like tension in your being. And the thing is, like, creativity doesn't happen in a vacuum. Creativity needs a medium. And you are the medium. And then, your medium will maybe transfer it onto something else. If you're not a performer, if you're an artist, then you will transfer it onto a canvas or a piece of paper or a mug or whatever it might be. If you're a performer like me, then you are kind of the medium of creation. And that means that if you do not treat this medium with the respect that it needs, it will not be able to produce back what you want it to produce. And I'm not going to go through just the typical like sleep, eat good food, and like what does that actually mean? That's so generic. So I will tell you what I do, but it might look different for you, and that's totally fine. There's no judgment here. It's really what works for your body. I have friends who, I'm a vegetarian and I don't eat dairy. I have friends who literally eat liver straight out of the freezer raw and like goat's milk, would literally just eat it fresh. And amazing. That's amazing that we both know what works for our bodies, because our bodies are entirely different. So I'll tell you what I do. I'm very much about like holistic alternative ways of living. If I have a broken arm, I will go to a doctor, but I truly believe in just finding the root cause of something. So if I have a cough, I'm not personally going to take cough medicine. I'm going to say, why do I have this cough, and what can I do to stop this cough now and then prevent that happening from the future, or I guess in the future. Diet-wise, I'll just start there. Diet-wise, I eat vegetarian and I don't eat dairy. So I'm technically not a vegan because I eat honey, and what was the other one I eat? Eggs. I eat eggs. That's just what works for me. I stopped eating meat in 2015, and I just immediately felt better. Like I just felt, when I stopped, my stomach, for some reason, that just felt like there was just this going on. And then when I stopped eating meat, it was like, whew. And then when I stopped eating dairy, it was like, like double. So it's like, okay, something is working here. That works for me. I have regular supplements. I found that I really need vitamin D. I'm very vitamin D deficient. I think most people are, just because we, especially for those who are inside a lot, we don't get a lot of sunlight. So I supplement with vitamin D. I supplement with magnesium. I believe it's magnesium citrate. I can't remember if it's citrate or malate, but it's like a chewable magnesium. And I also supplement with L-theanine, and that is naturally found in green tea. The calming part of green tea, aside from the caffeine. I'll have that every single day. We filter our water pretty intensely. We do not drink tap water. We filter our water a lot, and then we have a hydrogen water machine, and it adds like a 8, so it's an 8 pH right now. I would love to eventually just get the Kangen water machine, but I had to get like a Wish version of it because it's pretty expensive, so I'll get that at some point. But right now we just have like a one that only really gives you like 8 pH, and a really good therapeutic dose of hydrogen water is like 9 or 9.5. So yeah, right now it's not like super hydrogen, but hydrogen water is really, really good for just better hydration and absorption, moving things around in your gut. Like, it's just really, really good for you. So we do that. I fully understand that that is not within some people's budgets. So again, this is what I do. If you find that you can take some stuff from it, great. If not, that is okay. I'm just glad you're here drinking tea with me. I also get monthly massages, so like self-care. I go to the gym, I exercise, I do cardio, I do weight training, I go roller skating, I try to sweat as much as possible. Another big purchase I want to get is a sauna. And I really need to find a gym with a sauna. That's one of the things I've been looking for down here, is just a really nice gym. Talking about the environmental thing, right now, the only gym I have is Planet Fitness, and that is just, it does the job. You know, it has all of the things, but I am just, there was a Lifetime back up where we lived that I didn't go to, but I just grew up with people who'd go to it, and they'd sometimes bring me as a guest, and I'm like, that aesthetic wise, yeah, just if I could wake up every single day and look forward to going there, and I could work out and go in the sauna, oh my gosh, chef's kiss. I do go to hot yoga. That is a very beautiful facility, and sweating is really, really good for you. Yoga is really good for you. Stretching, especially pairing that with like stretching, cardio, weight training, that's kind of like all of it. I was a gymnast for 11 years, so I feel like I can say that. There's probably like not many other physical things that I can recommend, and I'm not really recommending anything, but based on my gymnastics experience, I do know that stretching, the combination of stretching, cardio, and weight training is really good for you. I go to sleep early and I wake up early. That's personally what works for me. I've been trying to wake up a little bit closer to like 5:30. Been waking up at like 6:30, but I'm just trying to get that a little bit earlier, just because it makes me feel more productive and energetic throughout the day. I usually go to sleep at like 9:30, and I try to get 8 hours. If I don't get 8 hours, I will try to take a nap. I am very specific about the amount of time I get for sleep. And then I just I use all natural products. Like, I don't use bleach, I don't use chlorine. I literally have a bamboo bleach-free, it's like brown toilet paper because it's literally straight from bamboo. So the things that touch my body, the things I eat are not processed. I eat really whole foods for the most part. And then, yeah, like lotions I use, soaps I use. I don't use anything with fragrances in them. If it's fragranced, it's fragranced with essential oil. So it's not really fragrance, it just has essential oil, which has a fragrance. So I don't use things that have fragrances. I don't do things that are artificial. Like, it doesn't make me feel good. And I don't think it really is good for any people. I don't do like scent plugins or anything. Like the candles I use, I have this candle from Good Light, and they're very specific on their website. They have absolutely nothing other than the wax, which I think might be coconut, I can't remember, and only essential oils. Candles are so not clear about the ingredients that they use, and there are so many, like, oh my gosh, I used to do like Yankee Candle. Not good, not good, not good. So yeah, very specific about what goes in our air. So we have air filters. I also have this tea tree oil thing called Azuna, and it's like a tea tree oil gel. And it's literally just like tea tree oil and something plant-based that makes it into a gel. And tea tree oil actually helps filter the air and freshens it naturally. So I don't use any air fresheners other than that. And I don't even want to call that an air freshener, even though it is, because air fresheners are known for putting scents into the air. Nothing that puts scents into the air unless it's literally essential oil and wax. That's it. Only essential oils. lotions, shampoos, conditioners. I try to be better about makeup. That's like the next step, but makeup is really hard because makeup is gonna have some stuff in it. But just things that touch my skin, things that touch my body. Looking for more high vibrational clothing. This is not the best example, but I really don't shop for clothes that much. But there is such a thing as clothing that is made with, bamboo fibers and really sustainable materials. So just all of those sorts of things. I do acupuncture. We have an acupressure mat that we lay on. We have a red light, which is really healing. None of the cleaners I literally use. I have this spray bottle that makes like 2.5 pH. I'm not quite sure, but it's an acidic spray. You basically just put salt in it and then you press a button and it makes hypochlorous acid, which it's literally just acidic, and that's what I use to clean. And I use Branch Basics if I need to clean with the windows or if I need to clean anything metal. Branch Basics, I just ordered another sort of cleaner, but I don't use like anything like Method or anything. I love Dr. Bronner's. I love Dr. Bronner's so much. It's so good. Definitely clean with Dr. Bronner's. I don't use Mrs. Meyer's because they have lots of fragrances in them and they try to like greenwash. They kind of try to pretend like they're sustainable, but they're not. Just overall, the things I put in my body, the things I put on my body, the things I put around my body, the way I treat my body, I really just treat it well. Another thing is I don't eat really gluten. I don't know if that's important, but that's another thing that I will if I'm out at a fancy restaurant and I want to get pasta, I will. But we really don't eat gluten either, and that has made me feel good. It's a very anti-inflammatory diet. Oh, and then for mind, the body and mind work really symbiotically, but I also will do headspace meditations. I really love headspace. I go to sleep to headspace. But yeah, if your body is literally blocked and tense and not getting the nutrients it needs, how do you expect it to be able to give you the inspiration to create art? It's pretty simple. Same with your mind too. If our mind is thinking of a million different things, how are we going to expect it to be like, yes, I feel comfortable enough to make art and not be in fight or flight because I am exhausted or tired or hungry or anxious. The last part of this is career tension. This could look so many different ways. This could be like if you're in college and you're anxious about how to get a job after college. This could be you're working a really exhausting day job or, as a waiter or bartender or something very, very, very draining, and you're just like, I don't see a way out. Or if you're working a corporate job, even remotely, sometimes, I've worked in very, very just toxic and draining environments, even completely remotely, although I do know that the really nice part about working remotely, which is why I talk about the importance in getting a remote job if you're a creative, is the fact that you can literally just shut the laptop and say, this is not real life, but it's real money, which is really cool. It is real life, but it's all just a projection. You're just looking at a projection on your screen. These people, they could be annoying, but if you just imagine that they were a projection, it makes it a little bit easier. But there could be a lot of tension in your career, whether that is the job that you're doing right now is exhausting, the people you're around is exhausting, or you don't know a way out of your job and you don't know what that looks like in regards to, I want to be a full-time artist, but I need to make ends meet. I have to pay the bills. And part of why I really love talking about all of this is because I truly believe that there's a way that we can be abundant artists. We do not have to be starving artists. We can be abundant artists. We can have it all. You can have it all. You can do your art full time and make enough money to do what you want to do with it. I know that sounds so cheesy, and maybe my voice resonates differently, or along with maybe other people's voice resonates differently too, like a lot of people are going to be saying the same things, but it's really just dependent on who resonates with you. That's the important part of finding creators and digital friends who speak your language, because I'm really saying, none of what I'm saying is super groundbreaking in the sense of like, in order to be a better creative, you have to eat well, you have to exercise. That's not new information, but maybe if the way that I'm saying it reaches to you a little bit differently, then that's amazing and I've done my job. But yeah, these underlying tensions in your career can actually manifest as creative blocks. They can be the reason why. I remember when I didn't have as consistent of a job that I have now, I would literally wake up and be like, how can I make money today? I could not think about writing music. I could not think about anything. I literally was like, how do I make rent this month? And that is not a good feeling to have. That's not a good situation to be in. And I don't want you to have to feel that way. So if you do feel like this is kind of resonating with you the most, maybe your tension and maybe the reason why you're not feeling creative is simply because your work situation right now is not really giving you everything you want it to, or maybe you're just not seeing a way out for yourself. So, I mean, I kind of coined the term cozy girl job. It's probably not a new concept. There's a creator who uses the word a lazy girl job, and I don't know her name, but it might be kind of the same thing, but the cozy girl job really is aimed towards artists. So the cozy girl job is currently what I'm in. It's a job I have, it's remote, it's not super draining. I'm able to batch my work. I'm able to scale some of how I work so I can work less and spend more time doing what I love. And I work with very fulfilling, nice people, and I'm very lucky. And so that's why I say, as an artist, if you're feeling this career tension and you do work this in-person, really exhausting job, or even remotely an exhausting job, I say your first step is to find that cozy girl job, whatever that is. So for me, I talk about, for artists, ideally a cozy girl job is something in like digital marketing or something like that, because there is a big need for people in digital marketing, and artists are pretty good at least some element of that. So digital marketing, thinking like blog writing, social media management, maybe like a virtual assistant even, or a digital business manager, or, I mean, some of this kind of goes into the admin kind of life, but in the realm of digital marketing, because the nice thing about it is that a lot of people need digital marketers, but also when you start building your own business as an artist, having a digital marketing background is really helpful, because you're going to know then how to market yourself. And marketing is literally everything when it comes to your art. So yeah, it's kind of like a 2-for-1. If you get this cozy girl job, you will have consistent income. That is a part of it. Of course, we want consistent income. We don't want to just be freelancing and, offering one service. We want to have a job that's either full-time, so we're getting a full-time income consistently, or we're a freelancer and we're able to say, these are my packages. I work on a month-to-month basis. If you need to cancel with me, you have a 1 month, a 30-day cancellation policy, so you can look for another job in the meantime. So a way that's consistent, so you're not ever thinking, when's my next paycheck? But then there's deeper issues too. Like, you could be technically working a cozy girl job, but working with people that you don't really love. I mean, maybe that's not even really a cozy girl job at that point, but just think about what you're doing right now for money. Is that making sense for your career trajectory? Does it look like you could scale from it? I mean, even a full-time job, a lot of people like to speak down on, that full-time job is a trap. But if you're a creative and you are working a full-time job remotely where you're getting consistent income, your work is done at 5, then you have the rest of the day to work on other things. You have the weekends free. You have an hour free at lunch. That is a really good setup. I would definitely not discount getting a full-time job for a little bit. I had one, and I'm very grateful for it. It set me up to start freelancing after that. I was really grateful that I got some freelance work after that. That's now consistent. But yeah, I mean, full-time jobs are really great if you find a really nice one with nice people who understand boundaries and that isn't emotionally taxing, and one that you could, like for me, I'm a blog writer and I write for a lot of clients, but I've taught myself, like, I know how to kind of batch do a lot of the work. Like when I do keyword research, I don't just do it for one client. I do it like all in one go. And so I time block, I'm like, okay, an hour and a half, I'm gonna do all this keyword research, then I'm done for the whole month. And then I batch write a lot of blog articles a few days of the month. So I literally have the rest of the month to do this. And it took a while. I mean, it takes months to kind of figure out that process. I don't necessarily need to show my face all the time. That's a huge part of this cozy girl job, is that you don't need to constantly be on meetings. I mean, listen, if customer support is the experience that you have, and that's your like least common denominator almost of getting a cozy girl job, then that's a great next step. That is better than, like, a remote customer service is better than in-person customer service for the most part. If you're working with nice people, that could be a lot better than your current situation too. So I don't I definitely don't want to discount that. Think about your career tension. I tend to have a lot of, because I kind of have this mindset where I'm like, if I'm not being productive, then I'm not like useful and I'm not all of these things. I tend to feel like a lot of anxiety around career tension. I look to other people and I say, oh my goodness, I'm 28 and this person is this age, and why are they at this level? They've released 3 albums and I've only released 1 song, and we can get into the comparison game a lot. So I fall into this a lot, the career tension, and it's why it's taken a while for me to write any new songs. I just wrote a new one like 2 weeks ago because I have been working on that with my therapist. There's a lot of ways that you can bust through creative block, and ultimately I just want you to know that it comes from tension, and that it's kind of a lifestyle, really. It's really about shifting your lifestyle through those 3 simple things, because I know lifestyle is a big umbrella, but if you really just took the time to audit your home, your mental state and your physical state, and your career, I feel like you would probably find maybe why you're getting a little bit of a creative block, and that could help you moving forward. It's completely natural to feel stuck or tense or just, I don't know why I don't want to do this. This is why I should be wanting to do this. I hope some of those ideas were helpful, and thanks for kind of hopping on for my first little podcast. I'm really excited to do some more. Let me know if there are any other topics that you want me to touch on, because I want to offer a lot of value in my YouTube videos. And then for my podcast, I really want you to feel like you have a friend in tea, a friend in cozy tea, an artist friend in cozy tea. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.